Hey everybody, and welcome to another deep dive. You guys have sent in so many amazing notes and research about plant reproduction.
That's a fascinating topic.
Yeah, so we're going to dive deep into, all the ways plants make more plants.
It's really more interesting than a lot of people think, I think.
I am already mind blown because I kind of just assumed it was all about seeds. But
Uh,
apparently some plants are like master cloners.
that's right. They've got that down. It's called asexual reproduction,
Okay,
and it's all about efficiency for them.
gotcha.
Yeah, they can create lots of offspring without needing a partner.
So no need for plant tinder, I guess?
Yeah.
But how do they do that?
Well, one way is through what's called vegetative propagation.
Okay,
Imagine you take a cutting from your favorite houseplant, stick it in water or soil,
uh-huh.
and it grows roots and becomes a whole new plant.
Yeah.
That's vegetative propagation in action.
Like those spider plants that sprout babies on their stems.
Exactly. They're using parts like roots, stems, or even leaves to make copies.
So,
Like think about potatoes with those eyes that sprout, or ginger that you can grow from a chunk of root. Oh, yeah. Those are all examples of vegetative propagation.
so you're basically like taking a cutting and like magically turning it into a full-blown plant.
Right.
That's so cool. What other asexual tricks do they have up their leaves?
Well, there's fragmentation,
Okay.
which is basically like breaking apart and each part growing into a new individual.
Okay.
And that's really common in algae. It explains why they can take over a pond so quickly.
Oh, so that's how algae blooms happen.
Exactly.
Like seemingly out of nowhere.
Yep.
So cool. What about that fuzzy mold on bread? Is that asexual reproduction?
Yes, that's a great example. Mold, ferns, and fungi.
Okay.
They use spore formation.
Got it.
So they release these tiny spores that are like plant dust with the potential to become a whole new organism.
It's like a little botanical time capsule.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they can travel super far, and then they wait for the perfect conditions to sprout.
That's incredible. Okay, so to recap, we've got vegetative propagation from cuttings, fragmentation where pieces become whole new plants, and spore formation with its tiny travelers. All ways to make more plants without seeds.
That's right. Those are the key types of asexual reproduction in plants.
Gotcha. And what is the advantage of that?
Well, it's super efficient, especially when you don't need to find a mate.
Makes sense. It's like plants have mastered the art of cloning themselves.
Exactly.
That's wild. But there's got to be a catch, right?
Well, think about it. If every offspring is a clone, there's no genetic diversity.
Uh-huh.
They're all susceptible to the same diseases and environmental changes.
Right.
One bad bug could wipe out a whole population.
So it's like putting all your eggs in one basket, genetically speaking.
Yes, exactly. And that's where sexual reproduction comes in.
Okay.
It's a bit more complex, but it offers huge advantages when it comes to adaptability and survival.
I feel like we're about to enter the fascinating world of plant romance.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, so to get into plant romance, what's the first thing we need to know?
Well, to understand sexual reproduction, we need to talk about flowers.
Okay.
They're more than just pretty faces. They're the plant's reproductive powerhouses.
So flowers are like the plant's dating profile picture.
You could say that. They're designed to attract pollinators and facilitate this exchange of genetic material.
Okay, got it. So
Okay.
break it down for me.
Yeah.
Anatomy of a flower. What are the key players in this reproductive drama?
All right, so the stars of the show are the stamen and the pistil.
Okay,
The stamen is the male part.
gotcha.
It produces pollen, which you can think of as tiny packages of male genetic material.
Okay.
And then you have the pistil, which is the female lead,
Uh-huh.
and it houses the ovary, which contains the ovules, each holding an egg cell.
It's like a delicate treasure chest holding the potential for new life.
That's one way to put it.
So how does the pollen male genetic material get from the stamen to the pistil?
That's where pollination comes in. It's the crucial act of transferring pollen from the stamen to the stigma,
Okay.
which is the receptive surface of the pistil.
So it's like a tiny delivery service.
Yeah.
So how does this pollen travel? Do flowers have like tiny drones or something?
No, not quite. Plants have evolved some ingenious ways to get this job done. Some rely on the wind to carry pollen.
Okay.
Think about those massive fields of wheat or corn
Mm-hmm.
that release clouds of pollen.
Oh. So is that what triggers my allergies every spring?
It might be.
Okay. Well, what about plants that don't rely on the wind? How do they ensure pollination happens?
Well, they've enlisted the help of some amazing partners, pollinators.
Okay.
Bees, butterflies, hummingbirds.
Oh, yeah.
Even bats.
Wow.
All sorts of creatures.
It's like a botanical matchmaking service.
Exactly.
But what's in it for the pollinators?
Well, they're lured in by the irresistible rewards that flowers offer.
Like what?
Nectar pollen, sometimes even shelter or warmth. It's a
Wow.
mutually beneficial relationship.
So as pollinators flit from flower to flower, collecting their sweet rewards, they're inadvertently picking up and delivering pollen and enabling plants to reproduce.
Right.
That is such a cool example of symbiosis in nature.
It is. It's a delicate dance that has been fine-tuned over millions of years of evolution.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
But pollination is just the first step. Once that pollen grain lands on the stigma, the real magic begins.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What happens next? Does the pollen just magically fuse with the egg?
Not quite. The pollen grain has to germinate first.
Okay,
It grows a pollen tube that stretches down through the style of the pistil all the way to the ovary.
so like a tiny botanical tunnel leading to the egg cell.
Precisely.
That is amazing.
And it's through this tunnel that the male genetic material travels down to meet the female gamete, finally leading to fertilization.
Fertilization, that is the moment of truth. What happens during fertilization?
It's the grand union. The male and female gametes fuse together,
Okay.
creating a zygote, the very first cell of a new plant embryo.
It's like witnessing the spark of new life.
It really is.
Okay, so where does the seed come in?
So, as the zygote develops, the ovule surrounding it transforms into a seed,
Okay.
a compact package containing everything the embryo needs to germinate and grow into a new plant.
So the seed is like a plant's version of a space capsule,
A great analogy.
packed with all the essentials for a new life to take root.
Exactly. And often this seed is enclosed within a fruit which develops from the ovary.
Oh, so that's how we get those delicious apples, berries,
Yeah.
all the other fruits we enjoy.
Right.
They're not just tasty treats, they're also vessels for seed dispersal.
Exactly. Fruits come in all shapes and sizes, each adapted to disperse seeds effectively.
This is so cool.
It is. So before we dive into the fascinating world of seed dispersal, what do you think are the main advantages of sexual reproduction?
Well, unlike asexual reproduction where you get clones, sexual reproduction leads to genetic diversity.
Yes.
Offspring inherit traits from both parents, so they're not identical copies.
Mm.
And this genetic mixing means that some offspring might be better equipped to handle challenges like diseases or changes in the environment.
Right.
It's like they have a better chance of winning the genetic lottery.
Exactly. Sexual reproduction is all about shuffling the genetic deck,
Okay.
creating offspring with unique combinations of traits leading to greater adaptability and resilience.
So it's like how plant breeders use these principles to create new varieties of crops.
You got it.
They're essentially harnessing the power of sexual reproduction to select for desirable traits.
Exactly. But just like nature has its own ways of dispersing seeds, humans have also played a role in shaping the evolution of plants.
Fascinating. I can't wait to hear more about how humans have influenced plant reproduction. But first, let's unpack those seed dispersal strategies that you mentioned earlier. How do plants spread their seeds far and wide? All right, so we're back, and we've gone from asexual reproduction
Yep.
all the way to pollination,
That's right.
fertilization.
All these ways that plants have evolved to create new generations.
Exactly. It's amazing.
But the story doesn't end there.
It doesn't.
We need to talk about how these tiny seeds, these packages of life, embark on their own adventures.
It's like the botanical version of sending your kids off to college.
Exactly. Seed dispersal is crucial for plants.
Got it.
They need to avoid competition, colonize new areas, ensure the survival of their species.
Okay.
And just like with reproduction, they have some ingenious methods for spreading their seeds.
Okay, so I am picturing tiny seeds with parachutes just floating on the breeze.
You're not too far off.
Really?
Some seeds, like those of dandelions and maple trees, have evolved wings or feathery structures
Ooh.
to catch the wind and carry them far and wide.
They're like nature's hang gliders.
Right?
That explains why dandelion seeds seem to pop up everywhere.
Exactly.
Okay, well, what about seeds that aren't designed for air travel? How do they get around?
Well, some seeds are masters of water travel.
Okay.
Think about coconuts.
Yeah.
Those iconic symbols of tropical islands.
Uh-huh.
Their tough, buoyant husks allow them to float across vast oceans, washing ashore on distant shores to sprout new coconut palms.
It's like they have their own little built-in life raft.
Right.
Any other creative dispersal methods out there?
Well, some plants have evolved a rather sticky strategy.
Oh.
Their seeds are equipped with hooks, spines, barbs that cling to animal fur, or even our clothing.
Oh, So those pesky burrs that always seem to get on my socks,
Yes.
those are actually ingenious seed dispersal mechanisms.
Exactly.
So they're hitchhiking.
They're hitchhiking. Clever way to disperse seeds far from the parent plant.
Yeah.
And then there are plants that take a more explosive approach.
Explosive. What do you mean?
Some plants have seed pods that dry out and then burst open,
Wow.
flinging seeds in all directions.
That's as dramatic.
It's like a botanical fireworks display.
So we've got wind, water, animal hitchhikers, exploding pods.
All sorts of ways.
Seems like plants have a seed dispersal strategy for every occasion.
They do. It's just as diverse and fascinating as their reproduction methods. Really highlights the incredible adaptability and resilience of plants.
Yeah.
Their ability to overcome challenges and ensure the continuation of their lineage.
You know, it makes me think about how we've talked about humans have played a significant role in shaping plant evolution.
Of course.
We've talked about how plant breeders use selective breeding to create new varieties of crops.
Exactly. And that human intervention has had a profound impact on the plants we rely on for food medicine. Countless other resources.
Absolutely.
You know, through agriculture, trade, even accidental introductions, humans have helped disperse plant species across continents.
That's incredible to think about.
It is. It's a reminder that we're part of this web of life.
Yeah.
Our actions have far-reaching effects on the plant world.
I feel like this deep dive has been an incredible journey, just like opening my eyes to all these hidden wonders of plant reproduction.
It's been a pleasure sharing this with you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll never look at a flower, a seed, or a weed the same way again.
Never. From asexual tricks to pollination to seed dispersal, plants have shown themselves to be masters of survival and adaptation.
That's for sure.
So next time you encounter a plant, take a moment to appreciate the incredible journey it's taken to exist.
Well said. Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of the natural world.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us on this botanical adventure.